Welcome to the Scared So What podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Van Ulbrich. This is the show where we break through the fear of change and ask the question, scared? So what? Each week we dive into personal change management, coaching, and leadership for the future, giving you real-world tools, insights, and stories to help you lead yourself and others through transformation. Whether you're navigating change in your life, your career, or your organization, this is your space to learn, to grow, and to take bold action. So, are you ready? Let's move from fear to forward. Welcome to the Scared So What podcast show. Today, we're honored to have a very special guest with us that is the CEO of Liquid Corp and is a visionary leader with expertise in food and beverage and global networking. In addition to his role at Liquid Corp, he serves as the chairman and co-founder of GUD Malta, an NGO dedicated to fostering sustainable and inclusive urban development. And if that wasn't enough, this very busy man is also the CEO and founder of Malta Solutions. Let's meet our guest, the Honourable Chevalier, Franck Massicard. Welcome to the show, Franck. How are you?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Grant, to have me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Franck, it is an honor and a joy to see you again. You and I have been friends for many years. My gosh.
At least 20, I think.
About 20 years, right? We started way back together
Yes.
on celebrity cruises. Is that right?
Correct.
My
It was a
gosh.
fantastic time, very different time. A lot of changes have happened since then.
You think? We both grown a little older. I see some white in your beard and mine too, as well too. We didn't have that way back
Correct.
then. But it's so nice. And now we're actually, for our audience, we're working together. He's got
Yes.
so many things, as you can hear, and we'll learn more about him. But we're working together on Scared So What? And we've got some great ideas to get this out to the world and help as many people as we can. But Franck, today's show is all about you. And again, it's so great to have you and to be with you
Oh my
again.
God.
Can you tell all of our listeners just a little bit about, you've got three main roles here: CEO of Liquid Corp, you are the chairman and co-founder of GUD Malta. I want to know what that's all about. And then
Sure.
CEO and founder of Malta Solutions. Tell us about you.
So, well, as you see, I do wear many hats. Not all of them are mentioned there, but to keep it summarized, basically, I have over 27 years of experience in hospitality across
Okay.
Africa, Europe, and North America. I'm the CEO and founder of Malta Solutions, which is a global consultancy that focuses on hospitality.
Mhm.
And then as well, I am also a chairman of GUD Malta, which is an NGO focusing on sustainability and particularly supporting the Great Green Wall project in Africa.
Okay.
And so that's one of my passion. And Liquid Corp, which is more recent, where we're focusing on beverages. It's a group that is based in New Zealand and that focuses on beverages and services.
What does GUD stand for?
So GUD stands for Global Urban Development, and so initially it was focusing more on urban development projects, but more and more it has got involved into supporting communities on the Great Green Wall in Africa. We work
Uh,
directly with the African Union to actually drive this project, which at first was involving just a dozen countries, and now is actually almost expanding to the whole continent. So it's very exciting stuff.
that's incredible. My gosh, do you ever have time for yourself?
Try to.
We try to. And before we started today, I asked you if you were going on vacation. The answer was no. but
No,
but
so we try to keep ourselves busy. I mean, we
mhm.
only have one life. So many things to get achieved, and I'm a strong believer in creating a legacy, and you can't create a legacy by sitting on the couch. So,
That's so true. Well, I'm here in London today. Tell everybody where you are.
so I'm based in Malta, where
Hmm.
it's right now. It's very hot,
And that's
scorching
why
hot.
that's why you don't go on vacation, because you live at a vacation destination.
That's true.
Malta is absolutely incredible. So yes, I am very envious and jealous. But
You will
this
come
is
soon.
great. I will come soon. Yes, hopefully. Well, listen, this is incredible. So see, you wear different CEO hats. You are affecting and helping governments and people throughout all different kinds of countries and regions around the world. So many different initiatives that you're driving. Um, What does leadership mean to you? And how do you present yourself throughout your different hats that you wear?
So, well, leadership to me is really about inspiring and empowering others to reach their full potential,
Hmm.
but as well teaching people how to collaborate and learning yourself to collaborate. Even myself, I every day challenge myself to collaborate better with the people surrounding me. Definitely, in my mind, it's not about being the boss. It's not about commanding people. It's really about guiding, having empathy, vision, and learn to adapt together as a team.
Yeah.
I always see anytime I deal with people, whether they're employees, whether they're partners or any kind of supplier. I always look at it as being a connector. I connect people together to make things work better.
Hmm.
And that generally is an approach that has proven to be very successful because people feel that they get something out of that relationship, whichever it is.
Well, and you do that so well. You and I have come back together after so many years as well too, and we've started to work together with Scared So What. And I was vulnerable enough to share with you what I was doing, but you were curious enough to ask the questions. And through that, we've started a great partnership. And you've actually come on board with Scared So What, and we're starting to look at how we can help other people around the world. What does it mean to you? What does Scared So What and personal change mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is being able to give back because all throughout my career, I mean, I've been 27 years in hospitality, and all throughout my career, I remember certain people that have actually brought, wisdom and experience to me, and I was able to become like a sponge and take from those experiences and learn what to do, but as well to learn what not to do. You know,
Oh,
when you
yes.
see examples around you it's
We've seen
it
a lot of those examples.
oh yes, definitely. And so you definitely want to be a leader, but you want to be a mentor and an example in everything you do. So personal change is the ability to say, okay, today is not like yesterday.
Hmm.
There are things that I will have to adapt to. How do I adapt to them without sacrificing my values and without making it difficult for the people around me? And so that's how I see personal change to be is to be able to first look at our own selves to be able to affect the personal change of others.
Hmm. Hmm. Amazing. Well, and you also, again, you have the opportunities with leading in so many different areas with your other companies that you're working in as well too. But with the GUD, the Global Urban Development that you're doing, you're reaching out to so many people, not just governments, but also to citizens. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, of course. So with this particular project, we are reaching an amount of communities that is actually staggering. It's 57 communities are involved
Oh,
in
wow.
this project, and we support them in whichever way we can. But that means we reach people on the ground, people that are
Hmm.
digging the earth, people that are planting trees, people that are over there selling chickens and this type of activities to
Hmm.
help actually enhance their livelihood. And
Yeah.
so, as much as we deal with them, we have to deal as well with the some of the chief of the tribes,
Yeah.
some of the people that are, I would say, at higher level that are involved in the African Union
Hmm.
and that are involved in different organizations in Africa. There are countless UN involved. We are working directly with most of the UN groups as well. And so you will encounter from diplomats to people that are employees of the UN, developing themselves ambassadors. And so every single one of them has a certain way to approach a personal change. And
Hmm.
funny enough, it's often the ones that struggle the most with personal change are more, I would say, higher up, higher level than those
Really?
that are on the ground. Those that are on the ground, if you're able to show them the benefit for them and their community, you have their full support most of the time.
Wow. And yet that actually, as I say it and I think about it and listen to you, it actually doesn't surprise me, because think about, the higher up you go, the more bias there is, right?
Correct.
Especially within leadership. You see a lot of senior leaders who hopefully they know a lot and they share their experiences, but there's a lot of over arrogance that's there as well too. And that arrogance shows itself, as you and I have seen through our own lived experiences. And those are the types of people that we don't want to follow. We don't engage with. We don't want to be with. And
Definitely.
we sure are not going to give our all to these people as well too. We'll collect the paycheck and just go on with it. But that's not the same for all the people that you're supporting. These people in Africa, in some of the continents or the areas, it's not about paycheck. It's about life. It's
Yeah,
about their own lives and their ability
exactly.
to have a life, the basic necessities and food and water and clean water and drinking water. And it's shocking. But
Well,
I also, oh, go ahead.
we at GUD Malta, we often say that our job is as well to educate and the people and the communities on the ground, but to educate as well those that are in power and that have the
Yeah.
influence to make things happen. And very often the education part is mostly to those that are at the top level, because it's important to make them connect to the ground, to make them understand what is happening right there with within the communities.
Hmm.
And there are very great, there are great conversations that have happened just by talking and expressing what is happening on the ground to people that unfortunately sometimes are a bit disconnected from that reality.
Yeah. And it's so easy to see your leadership coming through within your companies, but is it different when you're actually speaking to heads of state and government, et cetera, in different countries?
Well, there is a difference of protocol, let's put it that way, which
Ah, there you go.
you can't really do without. But I think we have come to a point where we've gained a reputation that allows us to talk very simply and very candidly to the leaders of those organizations.
Hmm.
And I would say that the work that we do cannot be done without them neither.
Yeah.
So it is very important, and we've learned with the years to respect what each other does. One thing that I always push for is that I love to do webinars, meetings. A few weeks ago, we were in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, at the African Union headquarters,
Hmm.
and I mentioned over there that it's great to have all these webinars, these meetings, these big talks and big conversations. But I always said, if it doesn't lead to actions, then it is waste of time for
It's
everyone.
true. Yeah.
And it is a waste of time, not just for the people present, but it is a waste of time for the communities.
Hmm.
So it is important that whatever we talk about has to be actionable and has to lead to action.
And I love that. And I think that's why you and I got along so well, because with Scared So What, it's about the scared is about reflecting on your personal feelings and actually
Hmm.
for the first time not being directed to go or to not worry about it or disregard your feelings, but actually to embrace your feelings, process them through a thought process and say, how do I feel about this and what decision can I make? But then to your point, so what? Right? What are the
Yeah,
actions? What can you do? That's where
exactly.
people actually, can hold themselves accountable. But so many people with change, they can't find their way forward. So they don't go into an action. They don't hold themselves to account. And they live in fear and assumption and worry and stress. But if we can get them out of that fear, out of that assumptive process and make an information-based decision, then they can actually start to make their own plan. You know, and
True.
and it's to what you just said, it's not just the leadership, it's everybody. If you can empower mass sections of people to look at where they are, living in their change, and give them the ability to think, well, what actions can we take and what could we do about it? And how do we take ourselves accountable? What does that look like?
Yeah,
Then you can truly drive things inclusively, together with the people versus just trying to tell people what to do. So
that's
different.
true. That's so true.
What is your hope that we will take Scared So What? What is it you're working on right now? Do you want to share with our listeners?
Well, my hope is my I've always thought to build a legacy on a personal level, but on I would say a wider level. um, I would love to see some things that so far I have not seen. Example, to see Africa thrive, because there are a lot of opportunities there. There are a lot of as you know, it's a very wealthy continent, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, it has been spoiled by foreign countries coming into place and basically reaping them of the fruits
Yeah.
that they carry. And so I'd like to see people in not just Africa, in all the places where, supposedly less developed places, that they would have the opportunity to grow the same way that we did, I would say, in more Western kind of
Mhm.
environment, where
Mhm.
we had basically all the resources at our disposal, where we had the education that allowed us to be where we are. I'd like those people that don't have access to those resources to finally get access to there, because I believe then the results will be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of like leveling the playing field, right?
Yeah.
And making sure that we give the opportunity to everybody and not just to some. And it's as you've rightfully said, African continent is very wealthy, but it's just shocking that how the leadership and the hands that have been going and digging in it is all from
Hmm.
external. And so how do we actually give some of that wealth right back to the people in their own land, and not just financial, but in mental capacity and knowledge, in the ability to transform themselves? Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm completely with you on that journey. And if there's anything that we can continue to do and expand in our relationships, I hope we'll do that. And I know that you're very well connected, so I look forward.
Well, I can maybe mention for listeners something that we're
Mhm.
working on already that you didn't mention. I would
There you
say by
go.
humility, I guess, with the fact that you actually offered, and we're working on doing it right. You offered to supply the first version of your application for free
Yes.
to Africans from the communities. And this is something that we're working on to be able to deliver, but it is definitely, I would say, more coming soon, to be continued. It is definitely happening.
Yeah. Let's go there. That's absolutely right. I've offered all of our model and our first generation app, and I'm working directly with you as our conduit to open those doors. But that is what's hard at my mission with me, is to empower people to be able to transform their own lives. And I
Yeah.
think that every citizen in the planet has the right. If you think of the United Nations and ESG, environment, social, and governance,
Mhm.
I think under the social aspect is every person has the right to learn how to manage change for themselves, because the knowledge is now available.
And it's funny you say that. This is something we say a lot at GUD Malta, because we strongly believe that everyone is working on the E and the G, but the S has been a bit left
Exactly.
behind. And this
Yeah.
is the most important part.
Yeah.
This is what makes the difference. And so I fully agree with you.
Well, and it's not popular because there are some in high leadership in governments that actually would prefer to keep the citizens down, to not have the knowledge, etc. But my belief that is, if you can get people out of fear, stress, worry, anxiety, we have the opportunity to improve so much more. Think about medical appointments. Think about, physical pains and stresses, and that all
Sure.
integrate into the body. Think about thousands and millions of people who seek medical care because of stress and anxiety and the effects of that. If you could eliminate that, you should do that. You absolutely
Oh,
should do
definitely.
that. And then if you
Definitely.
teach people to get out of fear, worry, stress, and anxiety and assumption, and teach them how to make information based decisions, then all of a sudden you've transformed a generation, a global generation. And those opportunities don't come along so often, which is why you and I
Absolutely.
completely align on the social aspect of it. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'm excited for the direction that can possibly go. And I'm
My
really
pleasure.
excited for your leadership and what you're doing. But let me ask you this. What was one of the most challenging parts of your career in practicing leadership or change?
Well, if I think about the most challenging part of my career in regards to personal change or change in general,
Mm-hmm.
it's most probably it was quite recent where I had to oversee the merger between two cruise lines
Oh,
with totally different cultures and different standards.
yeah.
And it's teaching people that, of course, when you have a merger, you have one company taking over the other one, or basically working together to create one. um, you will find that there are a lot of changes that will come. This is a time where for the employees, where there's fears, there's people are afraid to lose their job, afraid that the ways they used to work is no longer relevant, or that the environment where they work in will totally change.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely, sorry, that is definitely something that you it's difficult. It's
Yeah.
difficult for an employee to deal with that, because very often, as much as we try to communicate and to be ahead of the curve, and avoiding a fear amongst the employees, you will find that people by themselves start to share rumors about things,
Mm-hmm.
start to have fears that don't have a reason to be.
Yeah.
But it is still important for leadership to understand that it might not be in our head as something that is a concern. But if it is a concern for one of our employees, then it is our concern, because the way he's going to behave, his actions will actually go with that in mind. So,
Yeah.
so it's really important. That was definitely the biggest challenge, because it was about teaching people how to see beyond just the rumors,
Mm-hmm.
to really establish right ways of communication, and making sure that, as well as leadership, that we were communicating the changes as they were happening,
Yeah.
not with no delay, because very often delay leads to even more misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely quite an interesting challenge, most probably the most challenging.
I can relate. You know, you and I have been through many different types of mergers throughout our career
Oh,
history, and
yes.
I know for our audience as well too. It's not just the hospitality industry; it's the whole world. So many different types of mergers and acquisitions, and the key word you said there was manage it in real time, in real action, right?
Yep.
Instantly, and that doesn't happen. I see so many companies with their organizational change communications plan. It's got every department covered, including legal, including PR, including internal HR, et cetera, et cetera. But what it fails to include is the people.
Hmm.
If that doesn't follow along in their schedule, you're not hitting the mass population. And we've seen it
So,
so many times. I've seen sales organizations go through where they're actually going to reorg, promote people. No one would get misaligned or made redundant, but yet they did it in such stages that the rumor mill got out there. And by the time the leader was ready to actually communicate, everybody thought they were being fired. So
yeah.
even a positive change can go so poorly if you don't include people from the get go, from the absolute
Yeah,
beginning.
for sure. And there's one as well, one clear thing that I've noticed in those big changes is that when you have the people understanding why you're doing the change, how you're going to do the change, uh, that suddenly you have actually those that are promoting the change.
Yes.
So instead of you as a leader to be alone promoting that change, you suddenly now have a team behind you that is much stronger than the rest of the employees, because they can reach out to all employees, and then they can see that normal people like themselves
Hmm.
and at employee level can actually see the same thing.
I agree.
And so that encourages them to say, okay, that's not that scary now, because
Hmm.
it's the same impact when you're in a crowd and suddenly everybody starts running all directions.
Yeah.
Well, somehow you run in all directions because you feel that you react according to the crowd.
React
And
a huge assumption, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And they might be just running because for no reason they just saw something and they misinterpreted the situation,
Yeah.
and they're just running. But that might not be the solution. But if you
And it
start
might
to see
and it
that
might
half
not
of
be
the
the right
crowd,
direction.
Correct. And half of the crowd might be standing, and then if you follow them, you might realize, okay, actually, there's no need to run anywhere. It was a
Mm,
false alert, and so
exactly.
it's very important because those people that we manage to convince or to get on board with the change. They will be the best advocate, better than ourselves, to
Exactly.
actually convince the rest.
Exactly. And that's my whole impetus in creating the Scared So What Pro app for organizations and solutions so that we could actually allow people to be in on the change from the get-go, but also for the
Yeah.
organization to have live data insights so they could see the change in their culture instantly. You know,
Yeah.
we've all been in working with leadership in HR, and I used to run engagement processes for quite a long time as well too. And I know that, trying to get people to do surveys anymore is like pushing giant rock up the hill. It's just not going to happen.
That's
People
true.
have lost faith. They've lost any trust of it, and it always happens too late, and nothing ever really does happen. The action part, which you shared earlier, which
Yeah.
is why with Scared So What in our pro system, I want you to see it live and instantly, so we can actually work together.
This is what I love about you really, in your, you have in this, the methodology that you apply for Scared So What is amazing because it allows the company to see whether the change is actually effective or
Yeah,
if it is not.
yeah,
And then to adapt to it and to be able to basically take a thermometer, which is something we've never been able to do until now.
yeah,
Uh, and before Scared So What, there was no way to basically take a thermometer and see how much the change is being embraced.
yeah.
And that is really something that I loved about that methodology.
Thank you. Thank you. And some people have said, well, isn't that just like a poll? You can take a pulse survey. Again, survey fatigue. And I want
Yeah,
something beyond just a smiley face. I actually want to see what population is feeling positive and how are they, and then what is their plan, but also simultaneously, what percent of the population is feeling negative and what are they doing about it? What are their plans
correct.
and their actions as well, too? So
Sure.
see that change live.
Yeah.
Wow, so much you've been doing, so much good you're still doing,
I
and you've
try.
got your hands in so much. Let me ask you this. What's the importance of personal change, coaching, and or leadership beyond work? So we talk so much about work, but what do you believe it is to be beyond work as well?
Well, I think that whenever you look at personal change, coaching, leadership, basically those things affect our lives in
Yeah.
so many ways. There's, you know, if you talk about changes, they're all around. The opportunities for coaching, same.
Hmm.
Leadership as well. Leadership could be that there's a situation in the streets that requires organization or requires maybe to move some stones from the road because it's dangerous or something like that. That's leadership, that
Hmm.
to basically take it upon yourself to make that decision to say, okay, I need to come out of my car and go move that big stone because
I can
someone
do
could get
this.
hurt.
Yeah.
And so I think that it doesn't have to be related to work at all, that it affects everyday's life. We all change every day. Our
Hmm.
environment changes every day outside
Yeah.
of work.
Yeah.
And so I think that it is important to really take that how you call it, not rumor, but this concept that many people have to think that those things only apply to work. No, they
Yeah.
don't. You just have to learn that your life, whether it's at work, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, is always giving opportunities for personal change, for coaching, and for leadership.
Yeah, and it's constant. We don't just experience change when we clock in or when we come to work. You have change constantly with your families as well too. Finding
Correct.
daycare, healthcare, going to the dentist, just everyday things. And for some people, like you said in Africa, it's about finding water or food or
It
survival.
is very
So
much.
it's not just about work. It applies to your whole life. Well, Frank,
So.
as same question we ask everybody in our show to wrap up for the day is, what is one thing of advice you'd like to give out to people about change, coaching, leadership, or just life?
Well, that's a big question, carries a lot, but I'll try to give my best answer. I think that embracing change is really the best teacher here. Um, Change will teach you so many things, teach you about yourself, will help you reach limits that you thought you couldn't access,
Yeah.
will turn you into a better person if you allow it. And as long as that change is positive, you know that this will lead to a better self. I think that you must approach change with curiosity and courage. You must not allow it to overwhelm you, because most of the times, when you take the time to break it down and analyze the change that is about to happen, you will find that there are a lot of more benefits for you than there are inconveniences.
Yeah.
So I would say don't fear what you don't know about. Learn about it, and then basically share it with others so that you can inspire others.
I so agree. Gosh, and I wouldn't be here if it was some of the changes that have happened to me if I just actually succumbed to them and given in. If you can learn from change, change. I always say change gives us experiences, but it's those experiences when we learn from them that gives us the difference of how we're going to manage it and what outcome we decide to make. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, thank you so
That's
much.
very
It's
true.
great to have you here today. And for all of you listening, if you want to learn more about Frank or to connect with him, because please do so. The man has a lot to share, even though he has so many different roles. His hands are everywhere, but he's always willing to say yes. Connect with him on LinkedIn. I'll put the link in the profile. But Frank,
That will be
what's your
my
last
pleasure.
word? Any last
Well,
words?
I actually managed to get a quote that I think is amazing. It's from Socrates, so not the least one.
Oh,
And it says the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And I think that's an amazing quote.
building the new. I agree. That's fantastic. Wow. I hope you come back with us. It's always great to see you
It will be
again, and
my
I hope we
pleasure,
see you again in the future.
for
Thanks so
sure.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us here on the Scared So What podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Van Ulbrich. If you found any of this information insightful, well, give us a like and follow along. Make sure that you tune in each week for more episodes as we talk further about what is personal change, how do you manage it with Scared So what about coaching, and also leadership, and how all three of these tie together. If you'd like to learn more, then go to our website at www.scaredsowhat.com. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope that you come back soon.